Hello, this is Nyasha Charandura from Major Sports Institute. Today, I would like to present on one of the crucial topics in 21st century, which is prehab. Prehab is a word that confuses many coaches, especially with the relationship that it has with rehab. I would start by looking at rehab, which goes for rehabilitation. And rehabilitation is usually done when injuries happen and as a way of trying to bring back players to play. But prehab is totally a different aspect. Prehab, these are therapies or activities that are done to reduce the occurrence of injuries. So they are more of preventative measures rather than the ones that are used in rehabilitation. So it's very, very important to know why prehab is playing a key role. Remember, we once presented about wellness, where we were speaking about different aspects from the mental load, the physical load, and etc. So when we look at prehab, we are focusing on two key tissues, which are the active tissues and the passive tissues. The active tissues looks at the muscles. The muscles are the core in terms of the movement of our athletes. However, the passive tissues, they follow the movement of the muscles and the joints, which are the ligaments and the tendons. So usually we encounter injuries due to either overuse or getting into a certain intensity before both the active and the passive tissues are ready. So prehab acts as an intervention. There are many ways in which prehab is done. For example, I spoke of therapies and activities. Therapies calls for superficial massages. For example, when we have the physiotherapist before a match, there's a difference between a deep tissue massage and the superficial, because the objective of those is to make sure that at least there is that basic activation. Also, we have got the mobilization that are done on the joints, that at the same time they also deals with the passive tissues. Remember, it is those passive tissues, the ligaments, the tendons, that connects for mobility to happen. So usually bands are used in some of those movements, besides the mobility activity that can be done by fitness coaches and the physiotherapists. The bands can be used, the TheraBands. For example, the common one that we use are the Flex Mini and the Flex Revolt as the bands. Usually we see them like all the players in the field of play, but considering now the factors that are there in 21st century, the time that we have is getting limited of preparation, where we are supposed to save as much time as possible. The moment we get in the field of play, we're supposed to start with the ball, where technical activation is at the center. So at the end of the day, you begin to see that modern changing rooms have got space for prehab, where the physiotherapist helps in the superficial massages, in the mobilization, and also the fitness coaches, the sports scientists, and the exercise physiologists start also to help in terms of other activities. These may include the use of the bosos and different equipment that can be used, but the objective is to make sure that the preventative process takes place. Another reason why prehab is very important is also the saving of energy. Imagine the position that a player is when the superficial massages are done, the mobilization. They are not using a lot of energy. This is different from our traditional approach to preparation, where they have to run in the form of a warm-up. And after that, they also still need to kick the ball. You end up spending about 20 minutes doing things that can be done within 10 to 15 minutes. So what you do inside the changing room, especially in the form of prehab, helps also in terms of saving energy. Something that is very important, considering that in 21st century, we now have more games, we now have more competition. is high intensity in terms of the modern day football. And also the importance of technical activation, where there should be a relationship between the players and the ball. The moment you get to the ball, you start them with the ball. Why? Because already the body has been prepared. Of late, there was a myth that when the players get into the field of play, they're not supposed to start with the ball. But when you have done the prehab, the activation of the active and the passive tissues, it's easy. Because the reason why they were saying you're not supposed to do that, they thought already the muscles are not ready and also the passive tissues are not ready. But if you have done prehab, they'll all be ready and you can be able to start with the ball. That's why we are emphasizing now the use of technical activation as one of the major tools in developing and creating a relationship between the players and the ball. Why? Because technical activation has been forgotten over years. While these coaches thought it's mainly for academy or developmental athletes. But we see a lot of errors in the field of play. Remember, the intensity of the game is now high. There is a relationship that has to be created between the player and the ball. Hence, technical activation being key. It's easy to jump into technical activation after prehab have been done. Thank you very much. We meet you as we introduce the next topic. Good day.